Hey guys, so here is some clips from the Buck Davidson clinic that I did about 2 weeks ago. This was Cruz's first time back jumping in about 7 months. As you can see here, we're just going through a line of, there were 3 canter pulls on the ground that were set as bounces, and we were just working on maintaining some forwardness through the corners since we're in such a small indoor, and just getting a good rhythm and balance and not rushing and working on our positions.
It's yours. I have you living life like you should. You say you never had it so good.
Good, all right, walk in. Yeah, very good ride on that walk. Yeah. All right. Good.
So this exercise was just a step up from the canter pulls. It was the 3 canter pulls, 1 stride to a cross rail, and then 2 strides to a little oxer. And then, as you can see, there are cones at the end that we were supposed to go between, which I think Cruz thought he was going to jump one. I'm not sure why, but through this exercise, we're just trying to get our rhythm even better and maintain straightness. That's why he did a cross rail in the middle. So you're forced to kind of go straight. And then the cones also help you with the straightness. Going between them is kind of an accuracy test. And we were really working on just being accurate. And like I said, Cruz and I were getting a little stuck through the corner. So I was really working on just pushing him forward through the corners. That way he could maintain a good balanced canter and rhythm into the set of jumps. So I set him up for success. Throughout this video, I'm not going to be talking through all of it, just so you can kind of hear some of the stuff that Buck Davidson is saying. But for this part, that's the gist of this exercise. This part of the exercise, everything just kind of adds on to it. So you go through the canter pulls to the cross rail to the oxer, and then it was a left-hand turn back to a oxer, 2 strides to a vertical, and then through the corner, you really had to ride to get back to, it was basically a rollback turn to 2 canter pulls back to the oxer. And as you could see, I picked hard to that oxer, which is why we had it down. Just had me come around and do the canter pulls to the oxer again. Really just focusing on pushing him to the base of the jump rather than picking and pulling him. And then at the end, you're supposed to halt, which I forgot to do last time. I'm sure you guys can tell at this point, but everything just continues to get harder and grows on top of each other. So here we just come down the center line. You came back, and that was a oxer, 1 stride to a vertical, 2 strides on a bending line to another vertical. And then here you come around and you do a really hard rollback turn back to the canter pulls, and then you come up your vertical, up your oxer to your other vertical, which Cruz did really well, and I was very pleased with that. This clip, I had a really bad turn through the corner, and I picked him really hard up to that oxer, and at that point Buck told me to just go do it again. So here we are coming through this line again. He jumped that really well. The turn he got a little stuck in, as you can see, he was cross-firing and couldn't quite get his lead, but I didn't pick backwards to that oxer, and it rode a lot better, which was very nice when things actually work.
Good. Look, now ride forward.
This was the last course of the day, where we kind of had to connect everything together. As you can see here, we come across a cross rail at a diagonal and had to go through 2 cones on a diagonal over a pole. Then we came back to our outside line, jumped the vertical to the oxer. I was struggling with this a little bit, but I really pushed him forward and ended up having a good ride to that. Here we come back across the diagonal over the cross rail. And then as you'll see here, we turn back up center line. This was the end of the first day, and I felt like I learned a lot that day and was really able to knock some dust off of my riding since I hadn't been jumping much. Here's the start of the second day. As you can see, I really picked to that first yellow vertical. But after that, I kind of got my butt in gear and pushed him forward and was able to get a good stride to this next vertical. Here, he wanted us to just go deep in the corner so that we could maintain the same rhythm we had. And then we came across the middle over some canter poles out to the oxer, and I'm going to let Buck talk right now.
Yep. Now do that last bit again. Try to get yourself to the corner in one last stride. Get him to move off your right leg. Now sit back and go. All right? All right, Dan? He's a little dull, so that's where you end up having. You have to grab the reins before either one of these. That means you just didn't turn where you wanted. Right? Does that make sense?
We're just doing that same little course again. As you can see there, I didn't pick nearly as much to that yellow vertical, and it worked out a lot better than the first time. Here, he really emphasized not picking to this vertical and galloping into the corner towards K. That way, when you came around the turn, you didn't lose any momentum, and your canter stride stayed the same as it was earlier. And here, he really wanted you to just push them into the fence, while keeping a balanced stride, but just maintaining everything and making it all so you're not picking.
Very good. So when you're balanced there, not fast, then you feel comfortable going forward, right? If they're too fast, now they're out of balance, then you feel like you want to forward.
So this is a new course he had us do. You jump the oxer to a vertical. I really could not see a distance to that vertical. I don't know why, but it just wasn't working. As you can see here, we had a really tight turn back to a vertical. I think it was 4 strides to an oxer, 4 strides to a corner. And then we came around here and jumped a oxer to a chevron, which Cruz spooked at a little bit, but ended up jumping it quite nicely.
All right. Good. Adam, good job. All right.
So here I got switched to the front of the clinic. Someone else was having problems, so he just had me go first. I don't really do that good at that because I'm a visual person and like to see people go do it before I do it. So this kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone, which is good, but I messed up, so.
Yeah, so right from the get-go, we kind of missed our lines, yeah? Right, and then when you late here, then you never got over to F, right? And then, so that's, again, just kind of knowing, first, where you want to go, right? Once we start getting off course, it sort of snows out, right? So, it's right, here again, I'm not mad, just, whatever, it's what it is. Yeah, make it go, go on. There you go, that's right. Keep going, that's right. Good, gallop to the next one. There you go, gallop to F, that's right. Good, keep that canter.
As you can see, since I chipped to that first one, I had a little bit of a weird turn to the second, and that really resulted in a weird striding to the last one, which he had really made up for me quite well. This horse is so good to me. He covers up my mistakes pretty well, and it's very nice, especially since I've done all the training on him myself. But as you can see here, he comes and he just jumps us great. And yeah, he's a pretty cool horse, and I'm really glad that he's back to jumping and that we were able to get some of our dust off.
So you let him slip out there. Yeah. So you got a little bit too much to the right rein. Right? You were on a good game, you had a good balance. Just trust, keep going. And you're going to get there one last one. Go on. There you go. Go on. Keep that step. Like that. Like that. There you go. Nice. She wrote that awesome, right? Like she just got that same step, so then there's 3 strides in this case. This should be. Shut. Rode this corner of this three stride. Fantastic, right? So that was great because you kept that open step. Now, the only thing, you went back to the green one, not quite so good, right? Back because you went, grab the left, right? You didn't tee it up that someone was coming, right? Which is kind of what I thought. Yeah, this is fantastic. Very good. All right, yes. Go. Do that again. Right. That's going to be 5 strides, easy, all day long. Yep, that's more balance, not necessarily speed, but that he's in the middle of the yellow and white fence. Good, go on. There we go, keep that. Good. Yeah, so that your level, that's got to be 5 strides. Like, and just like it was that last time, right? Like, you weren't rushing into the short 5, right? Good. So, you pick, right? Don't pick, rely, trust that balance right? Trust that outside right? Okay?
I had an incredible time riding with Buck. The main thing I took away from it was that I really need to get Cruz more in front of my leg and have him more responsive, especially if I want to be moving up to advanced this year. I loved riding with Buck. I learned a lot. I was able to get rid of some of the rust I had from not jumping big in a while, and Cruz was too. I'm looking forward to this coming season, and I highly suggest riding with Buck if he ever comes to your area, and I hope I will get to ride with him again in the future. As always, if you guys liked my video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.